Friday, people, and 1st of October. I am just quickly sliding into your feed for a few minutes on this gorgeous Friday to give you some actionable information as you head into your weekend. Firstly, I just published this morning my newest podcast with the CEO of Longevity Labs and Spermidine Life Plus, Daniel Dietz. Spermidine Life. If you're a close friend, you won't have just said, WTF, did she just say? It's a funny story anyway, so why not share the background with you on spermidine? Sometime during the Dutch golden age of science and technology, circa 1676, Anthony van Leeuwenhoek observed tiny microorganisms in water and became the first bacteria observed by man. He is thusly known as the father of microbiology. He created his own single-lens microscopes, and in addition to being the first person to discover blood cells and a microscopic muscle tissue, amongst other things, he discovered sperm, or at least he looked closely at it. It turns out that if you give a man a microscope, he will eventually study his own and many other animals' semen, and this holds true no matter what century you're in. The semen he studied, he noticed some crystals, which were eventually also found by other sperm-curious scientists. Thus, these little cute polyamines would come to be called spermidine and spermine. It turns out that these molecules are not exclusive to sperm, but in fact can be found naturally all over the body. Okay, back to the podcast. And fast forward a couple of 100 years. It seems crazy, but it was only in 2016 that Yoshinori Ohsumi won the Nobel Prize for discovering autophagy, meaning self-eating, which in an ideal state our cells are doing on the regular to clean up our hot little mess of toxic cellular waste created from us just being us. Hang in there, I have a point. Okay. So hot on the tails of this apocalyptic programmed cell death situation that's actually good for us, another clever scientist in Austria, Dr. Frank Medeo, discovers that the aforementioned spermidine polyamine peptide, that's a mouthful, actually triggers something called autophagy. What's autophagy? Fast forward just a few more years to 2019, when another couple of clever scientists and business people decide to license the technology from Dr. Medeo and create a cutting-edge supplement, enter stage right or left, Spermidine Life, to help become more efficient at cleaning up our cellular house and making it easier for our cells to renew and regenerate. An applause might be appropriate. Okay, so now that you have a little history, you can go download my podcast with Daniel Dietz, CEO, Longevity Labs, and Spermidine Life, US, who is going to walk us through what autophagy is, cellular aging, the supplement industry's pros and cons, and of course, how massive a role spermidine seems to be playing in everything from autophagy, cardiovascular health, maybe cancer prevention, preserving telomeres, the length of telomeres, and possibly enhancing cognitive abilities, and probably a whole bunch more. If you don't believe me, you can also listen to the podcast I did with Dr. Yurth, part 1 and part 2, who is a top anti-aging cellular medicine osteopathic physician, and she knows what she's talking about. Go listen. Right, moving on. I did promise you Financial Fun Friday, or maybe I didn't. I meant to. Hopefully, you've had some fun already with that little history lesson. Next, Ginkgo Bioworks went public 2 weeks ago via a SPAC. Remember, a SPAC is a special acquisition vehicle. I will be shortly doing a educational video and launch that on YouTube for everybody to look at. But they are a popular new way to go do a public listing via an existing publicly traded sort of shell company. It's a little convoluted, but nevertheless, it allows a company the ability to often get to the public markets a little bit quicker and often cheaper, and sometimes with less regulatory hassle. Ginkgo is using the clever symbol DNA, which might give you some idea about what they do and why I am very excited about this company. Ginkgo Bioworks developed a platform for cell programming. They were founded in 2009 by some smarty pants MIT graduates who set out to develop made-to-order microbes. This would allow their customers to actually grow their products instead of manufacture them. Crazy, right? Not so crazy these days. Hello, cell-based meat industry. Its platform is used to program cells to enable biological production of products like novel therapeutics, food ingredients, and chemicals derived from petroleum, just to name a few. Their clients are in a variety of industries, such as specialty chemicals, of course, which would like to sort of make a little bit cleaner for the planet, agriculture, food, consumer products, and pharmaceuticals, of course. They raised $1.6 billion selling some of their shares publicly via that SPAC, and now they have a market cap of a cool $22 billion. The shares were initially traded at $11.15 each. They traded over the last 2 weeks as high as $14 a share, and now they've sunk down to around $11.59 is what they closed at yesterday. I don't know about you, but I think this industry is monstrous, has awesome opportunity, and I'm going to be asking Santa to put a few shares into my stocking this Christmas. Now, you might want to have a word with Santa yourself. If you do, just make sure you invite your financial advisor along for the chat, because we don't want anybody upset on a regulatory basis. We're not upsetting any regulatory apple carts. Oh yeah, Bill Gates is an investor. The markets have been a bit bumpy this last couple of weeks, and the S&P actually ended negative for the month of September. Now, you might want to buckle up a little bit this month. October is actually historically the most volatile month, going back to 1896. The standard deviation for the Dow Jones during the month of October is over 1.4. Even if you take out the two worst crashes, 1929 and 1987, both in October, you will still end up with October being historically a very volatile month. Now, we cannot control that. We can't control the volatility in the market. However, what I recommend is for those of you out there who feel like maybe you've missed some of the upside in the market over the last couple years, or even just, last couple months, put together a favorite stocks or companies list or funds that you would love to own for the long term. Take a few minutes this weekend, plot them out, just do a short list, and then set a plan to invest some money, if you're liquid and it's the right risk reward, to buy some of those companies if you get a big drop in the market this month. Basically, use any market drop as a good opportunity to buy those companies on sale. If you're fully invested, on the other hand, and you've enjoyed this wonderful bull market we've been in, historical bull market, and you're a bit worried about the markets, inflation, China defaults, have a conversation with your investment advisor and do a little analysis and look at some of the sector allocations and see if you've got some areas where you can build some cash so that you're, again, prepared to take advantage of any market drop. I do actually have a crystal ball. It doesn't tell me anything. It's just good common sense for all investors and wannabe investors to have a plan of what you're going to do when you see some big moves in the market, up or down. How many of us were out there buying Amazon, Netflix, Spotify, or Zoom in March of 2020 when it looked like the pandemic was going to end the world? Not a lot of us. Well, that turned out to be a table-thumping buying opportunity in a wide swath of the markets. So, get ready. You might have some opportunity. Okay, I'm not sure if that was the fun part of Friday Fun Financial Day, but it's important. You can DM me or email me if you're nervous and you have some questions, you want to talk about some stuff. Okay, for the month of October on the podcast, we have lots of really cool guests. We're going to focus the topic a bit loosely on sexy aging and women's health. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so give the girls some love, get them checked out, and if you haven't done it yet, let's all celebrate the women and the families who've battled with the god-awful disease of breast cancer. Additionally, you can get ready to hear Natalie Conlon's story. She's the founder of another cutting-edge anti-aging and mission-led supplement company called Nucheeto. I am excited to share that with you. I also have a really cool special podcast that I did on mental well-being and values and thoughts with Sylvia Beasley-Suffolk, a good friend of mine. I think this is an episode that you might bookmark and come back to regularly. We've got a little meditation in there, and it's great for centering and grounding your thoughts. And it's really something special and different from the others, and I can't wait to publish it sometime around mid-month. We have Rochelle Weitzer, founder and CEO of the Pause Group. She's an OG and true baller in the cosmetics industry. Former CFO of Laura Mercier and CEO of Erno Laszlo. She stepped out to build her own amazing company that reimagines aging and the definition of what menopause means. Sparked by a hot flash created by science, finally skincare made for all 3 stages of menopause. So they say. Their detox serum recently won an award by Women's Health Magazine 2021 for the best serum for combination skin. I think I'm going to have to try that out. Her products are actually so good that men and teens are buying them up like crazy. So it's not just for women in menopause. I can't wait for that as well. Please make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen so you don't miss out on all these great entrepreneurs, the insight, the innovation, and sometimes the discount codes we get for the Shot Caller listeners, which we'll have for Nucheeto as well. And we also have for Spermidine. Now, I'm going to go a bit Ted Lasso on you. Can I ask you all this weekend a little favor? I'm going to go do my HIIT workout and then hit the Chardonnay. But first, I'd like to ask you to send a message or a voicemail or a text or a smoke signal to anyone out there that you think has been brave. It could be a friend, could be a neighbor, a child, an aunt, an uncle, anyone. Maybe you've thought about it, but you didn't express it. Someone who recently faced a cancer diagnosis. Someone who is taking care of a disabled child. Someone who decided to go back to school late in life. Those are brave things. Maybe someone who finally ended a toxic relationship, or someone who asked for a raise that they thought they deserved for a long time, or quit a bad job. Someone who you could make their day by acknowledging that they did indeed, or do on a regular basis, something brave. And lastly, I want to send my good friend Sue lots of luck this Sunday when she does something brave and runs the London Marathon. I know she's going to be amazing. I also want to give a shout out to another really dear long-term friend, Jean, who's endured a challenging 2019 and 20, but continues to be an exemplary mother, daughter, friend, citizen. Someone who has a lot of good karma built in her bank account, and I hope it starts to pay off for the rest of 2021 and beyond. Both these women are brave, and I wanted to acknowledge that. A big thank you to all of you who contributed to the 545 downloads the Shot Caller podcast had during the month of September. Thank you so much. Yourself, your wealth, your planet. I really appreciate all your time. So go enjoy your weekend. You got a little bit of financial fun, a little bit of real fun on the markets, some IPO news, some podcast news, and take care of you, and we will see you soon.